Imagine a place where wishes come true, where your heart's desire can become a reality. What if I told you that place is within reach? All you have to do is give your wish to me.
Wish commemorates 100 years of Walt Disney Studios. Can you talk about how this special anniversary sort of inspired this film and how Wish continues that Disney legacy?
Well, I think it all started back in 2018. We were still finishing up Frozen. Jennifer Lee had just become the chief creative officer at Disney and realized that in 2023 was the 100th year anniversary and went up to Chris and said, hey, what kind of a movie should we do?
We still had a year to do in Frozen 2, so I was a zombie at that time. So I about passed out when she said, hey, how about another feature to think about? But I couldn't pass it up. I mean, to celebrate the 100 years. You know, Disney means so much to all of us. We all grew up on Disney, all the characters, all the stories. I was very, very lucky. When I first started, I was mentored by Walt Disney's 9 Old Men, and Eric Larson was my mentor. So they really were handing down the baton to my generation. So now I get the chance to hand the baton to the next generation.
And Fawn, I can't believe this, but this is your directorial debut.
It is,
That is fantastic. Can you talk about sort of why this film, this was the right time?
This film talks about the importance of a person's wish, right? That there's no greater power really in the universe than a person with a wish in their heart. And I can relate to that so much. I grew up on Disney film, the 90s musical Disney era. That was all the feels, and it made me want to draw and want to become an artist, and had this wish to work at Disney Animation someday and to be here, to be working on this film. We put all the hope and joy and the fun that inspired us all into this movie.
Now, who do I have to thank / be angry because I'm going to spend so much money on little Star merchandise? This thing is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life.
We knew Star was going to come down to Earth, and Asha was going to wish on that star. But Star started off as kind of a character that could morph into different characters, different animals, even humans, had different voices. And then we just kept whittling it down to the simplicity. It's just this simple ball of hope and joy and inspiration and mischievous. The animators are so incredible, and they were able to make you feel and laugh and all of that without a voice and really fall in love with Star.
And I would say personality-wise as well, a breakthrough is in a meeting, Jen's like, have you seen this baby panda videos? And baby pandas were a huge inspiration for Star because they're so curious and funny.
I see that. Absolutely. That's amazing. Well, thank you. Star is adorable. Julie, I do want to ask about these amazing songs because from what I understand, the process is different when it comes to writing songs for animation. Where do you even start?
So when they gave me my assignment, they were like, here's one paragraph. That's all we had. That's all I had to go on. And it was basically about this young woman who lives in this really magical town, and it's run by this very charming king that basically protects all these wishes and grants wishes. And she finds out that not everything in this kingdom is as it seems, and thus starts her journey, this very selfless, courageous, brave, a journey to save these wishes for the people. And I really wanted to stick to the essence of that as much as possible and still make it feel really classic, but still make it feel modern. We would come in, Ben Rice and I, who I did the songs with, would come in and they would sort of give us our next assignment, and we would just talk about it all together. And I think as my job as a collaborator, the more information that I get, the better. And it really was such a collaborative process, the way that we would talk about the characters and go into their feelings and sort of the expectations of what we wanted it to feel like and sound like.
They played this wish for me, and I just knew, I was like, this is something I'm supposed to do this. I was absolutely terrified because I listened to it and I thought it was the most beautiful song I'd ever heard. But then I also was like, oh, I have to sing that. and I have to sing it well, and it's actually a deceptively hard song, and that was sort of indicative of the whole process of figuring out how to make myself so malleable that I can shift and change, whether I'm in a recording session with Chris and Fawn. I'm really glad that I said yes to it. And, Julie and I bickered every once in a while where I was like, girl, this lyric, I don't really understand it. Or this note, like, could we maybe pick a lower one? And she was like, no.
I was like, no, you can do it.
You got it.
And you did.
And I did.
You did.
And it was... For me, this whole thing has been sort of like a lesson in stepping out of my comfort zone and allowing myself to be led in a different way. This is not like making a live action feature film. This is, using your imagination, your own personal creativity to the nth degree, and then, trusting in your creative partners to take it the rest of the way.
Did you ever dream about like being a Disney princess?
I mean, I grew up watching all of the films,
Yeah.
and I dressed like Belle, and I think I dressed like Snow White for Halloween a couple of times, but I don't think I consciously really thought of becoming one of these characters in a way. I think I might have accidentally manifested it.
And now you're manifesting Tinkerbell.
Yeah, so I'm doing this weird but fun thing where I wanted to celebrate all of the Disney characters that I loved growing up. So I'm picking different colors and different makeup plots and, being my own versions of them. But like we have Asha hair. We love to see it. But yes, today's Tinkerbell Day.
Yes, fantastic. I want to talk about the process of working with actors and directing them, because I think some people have this idea that like voice acting, you can show up in your pajamas, and it's some of the hardest stuff you can do. And can you talk about the process of working with the actors? Are they ever in the booth together?
People had to be separate. We even had to be separate. I love being in the booth with the actors, but a lot of times we had to be behind the glass just because of safety reasons. But no, we, it's 4 hour max, it really, because it's exhausting. Ariana just has this incredible energy that we loved, and the animators, we record the sessions, video, and so we make sure the animators are watching that. So the little subtleties and the facial things, and of course she's an incredible dancer.
And the thing about your pajamas is true, because I did not do my hair and I was absolutely in gym clothes.
There's moments from like old Disney films that I feel you can feel their DNA in this movie. How conscious of you were about going out and parsing, the history?
We wanted to make an original story with original characters, original songs, but we were all Disney fans ourselves, and so that being able to understand what's at the heart of a Disney animated movie, hope, joy, wishing on stars. I think that's what drove us.
We brought in people from all over the studio to have round tables to tell us what Disney meant for them. So we started from a very emotional point, so everything else was led by that.
There are over 100 nods to our legacy, and you have the Excel spreadsheet.
Yes.
Really?
Secret.
You were keeping
So
track
you
of
ask
them?
him later, yeah.
The visual style of this film, right? We were like, let's go back to the beginning and look at Snow White and Pinocchio and this gorgeous watercolor storybook. So that's inspired this whole style, and we want to blend CG into it to allow us to walk into the book and live in it and be immersed in it. We put a huge challenge on our effects team. What if it looks 2D? It's designed. It has these thorns, and they got all geeky and nerdy about it. They went to the animation library and they were like, let's look at the source of the inspiration.
Ariana, did you ever get to record with Chris Pine? Because he's a lot of fun too.
He is a lot of fun, but I'll be honest, we never recorded at the same time. In fact, I think I typically would record first, and then he would come in, which is like kind of sad to me, because isn't he just delicious? Like, he's such a wonderful villain. I think his vocal tone and quality is just so buttery. And like he's a wonderful villain.
Yeah.
Like, you love to hate him, but you really love to love him too. And nods to the animators, because he's a fine-looking gentleman.
I want to go into the music a little more, and I really want to focus on "I Wish" because it was a song that hooked Ariana, and is such an amazing song. Where did the inspiration sort of come from, or was that the first one you started with?
Yeah, it was the first song that I wrote for the film. I actually got a call from Tom McDougall when the pandemic was happening. And he was like, we're working on a new film. It's the 100th anniversary of Disney's animation film. And he was like, we have our Lin-Manuels and our Lopez's, but we kind of want to try something new. Would you be up to trying? And I was like, oh my God, yes. And then I was like, oh my God, like you have the greats. Like, how am I supposed to live up to the expectation of Disney and Disney's legacy? That's like the biggest shoes to fill. I grew up with these songs and they shaped so much of who I am today. And the more I thought about the legacy of Disney and how it really is about believing and wishing and believing in yourself that you can do something. And so it took a lot of that in to do this and make this film and try and make this film as special as possible. Hope that everybody falls in love with these songs.
I can pretty much guarantee it. I don't think you have to worry about that. Well, again, it's such a beautiful movie. Thank you so much for all your hard work on it because it shows in every frame. And the whole world is going to get to see it pretty soon. So I would say spread the word. You probably don't need to, but...
Word of mouth is so good. Tell
Yes.
your friends.
Yes. All right.
Thank you all for coming out
See it
and seeing it
again.
in the theater today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.